The opinions expressed on this program are solely those of its hosts, guests, or callers, and do not necessarily represent the opinions of WTBR-FM, its management, other producers, or sponsors.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to Backstory. Let's hear it on WTBR-FM Pittsfield with Roberta McCulloch-Dews. Thanks for tuning in. So today we have with us Tondalea Brady. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Tondalea, and everyone calls me Tonda.
You know, I have to be all fancy with this.
Yeah.
Tondalea.
I actually like how you said it. Tondalea.
Tondalea. It sounds so beautiful, but what a beautiful name. So you are a lifelong resident of Pittsfield, and you are the author of the new children's book, Max and Gus Send Mom to Timeout.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, what a journey. And I'm sure that there is lots to share, and we're going to get into the book. We're going to get into all of that. But right now, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. So tell me, you are a native of Pittsfield, and your family, the Guns, have deep roots.
Very deep roots
in
here.
the Berkshires.
Yes.
Now, you are the second Gun that I have interviewed.
That's awesome.
And you know, I think when I interviewed your relative, and you know what we talked about, your relative Joe. We talked about just the awareness of coming from such an acclaimed family in the Berkshires. Did you always know that your family really had this this cachet to it?
Now, that's so funny that you say that, because now I do.
Yeah.
But not growing up. It was just very normal, you know, to have all these successful family members around.
Yeah.
And now looking back, it's like, oh, you know, your Nana, my Nana Elaine Gunn, oh, she was a part of this, and you know, just a long history of.
Well, let me ask you, does, in terms of the pride, because you have, it's like entrenched, so it's like you could go through Berkshire County and be like, like locations mean something to you, versus me. I'm an outsider. Listen, I'm only 13 years in, so I might as well have just come to the Berkshires,
right.
you know. But I think knowing that you could like be in a part of Berkshire County and a certain place has significance or relevance. And we were just briefly talking a little bit about your Nana, right, and the Norman Rockwell Museum and her involvement with that,
Right.
and the dress.
Yep. So my two aunts were posed for Norman Rockwell.
Wow.
And the two, I'm trying to think of the two, Welcome to the Neighborhood, or it's like the...
You're right. There was like... welcome,
the New Kids in the Neighborhood.
New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
New Kids on the Block.
And Day in the Life, or... I'm sorry,
No.
Yeah.
Was it with Ruby Bridges?
It was.
Right.
Exactly. And I didn't know this either. I just recently found this out. She she designed the dress that the little girl's wearing in that photo. So,
which is powerful.
That's very powerful.
Yeah. Yes. It's yeah, and I think, you know, I'm a big fan of history, so I love all things history, and I think it's always important for us to know. But when you have that deep connection, that's just even more amazing. I love it,
and I think that's why I have such a sense of community here, and I love where I'm from. Because of that, you know.
Did you ever think about moving away?
Briefly, when I was younger, and I think we all do, you know. But, me and my husband, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. We did live in Florida for a year, and we were like, you know what, we got to go back.
Yeah.
We didn't have that sense of family, sense of community, and we didn't even make it a year, and we're like, we got to go back.
Really? Yeah, I mean, that's quite the change. I mean, you're going from New England environment to Florida.
Like
you didn't even have any in between.
No in between.
You were like,
we should have went halfway. And then
I was going to say, give yourself a little buffer.
I know, right?
You took it all the way there. That's why you only lasted a year. That's right, because you didn't give yourself enough of a buffer. You should have just like gradually. We're just going to do North Carolina,
right?
Then we're going to move down, and we'll take it from there. But it's good that you have that feeling, because oftentimes when you got to leave and come back, and so you have that deep appreciation.
It was even more. I remember my husband, we were walking down North Street and we were like, look at that. Have you ever seen that building before? You know, we saw it from different eyes leaving and coming back.
Which is so good. I think that helps to stoke the appreciation for folks, because they'll say like, oh, this area doesn't have this or it doesn't have that. And yeah, I mean, there are things that may not be there, but there are a lot of things that are.
Absolutely.
And it's like, what do you choose to see? So growing up in Pittsfield, what were some of your fondest memories of childhood?
Oh, I had the greatest childhood.
Okay, do tell.
Yes. I don't, there was nothing super special about it, I guess, but I had my siblings. I have a sister and 2 brothers. So they were like built-in best friends, and we just went everywhere together and did everything together. And all I remember is laughing from my childhood. It was always filled with laughter, you know, so that's the main thing. And my younger brother, I'm a year older than she is, and 2 years older than my brother.
Yeah.
So we grew up in the same, we went to the same schools. So again, built-in best friends,
Right.
you know? So it was very easy.
Oh, I know.
Especially
about
as
that.
I was very painfully shy. So
Really?
yeah, so it was very, very easy going through the schools when I had them right there with me.
Because they're your buffer.
Yeah, very much. Very much so.
I've always been fascinated by people who come from like big families, because I only have one brother. We're 18 months apart, but I definitely know the thing about like having your sibling be like your built-in friend, because I mean, that's how it was for us too. It was like, all right, you guys stay in the yard and play together, and you don't need anyone else.
Right.
You're good.
And then my siblings were outgoing, so they made friends, and I made friends because they made friends. You know, I'm like, oh, this is good.
So they helped to carry you along.
Absolutely.
Aww.
Even though I was the older one, but it's still.
We're not going to talk about that. But then, all right, so then you got the family, you got the laughter. Did you think of yourself as like an adventurous child? Like you like to go on bike rides and adventures and things like that? What did you like to do?
When I was a kid, we played basketball a lot at all of the different, so we were a very sport-oriented family. So we played basketball at all of the parks. And I do remember a lot of riding the bikes and just everything, like normal kid stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's I got to tell you. So I was on, I don't know if I was on IG the other day, and someone was talking about like the kids today, and how like if you're from a certain generation, you have scars in your knees and certain things like that because you're outside playing all the time. And someone said, do you ever remember those like scars that would be like, it would like form like a scab, a thick scab? They were like, kids today don't even know what that is. They're living the soft life.
Yes. Play with it. I still have scars from playing outside. Play with the neighborhood kids.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, so it's so different, so different, but it really stokes your imagination. And I think when you're playing, you're having a good time, but you're also learning a ton of things. You're learning social skills, and all this ties in. I'm asking too, Tondalea, because it ties into your craft as a children's author and tapping into your inner child.
Absolutely.
But when you were growing up and you were thinking about, what do I want to be when I grow up? Did you ever say to yourself, I want to be a writer?
Yeah, so I wanted to be, I think, everything under the sun.
Okay.
I was so jealous of those kids who knew what they wanted to be when they were little and kept that until they grew up. I didn't have that. I'm like, okay, I want to be this for a week, and then next week it's like, oh, I want to be this. And even now, I'm like, I can watch like Grey's Anatomy, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a surgeon. I'm just all over the place. So no, I didn't have, I honestly didn't have that. But I'm grateful I have a lot of different passions, and I have a lot of hobbies. And so living life in that way, like I get to try a lot of new things because of that.
All right, because your path, it's interesting because your path then took you, ultimately, you stayed. You didn't go away you didn't say, I'm going to leave and go away to college. You stayed, you went to MCLA.
I did go to MCLA.
And so you have a communications background.
Yes.
And a PR background. So in a way, it was like you still found, even at that early stage, you still found yourself gravitating to words.
That's true. Now, even when I majored in English too.
Yeah.
So, and I did that for two different reasons. When I was in high school, it wasn't my strongest suit. So I figured if I major in this, I'll be really good, you know, and I'll be a strength instead of a weakness. And I didn't know where I wanted to go to graduate school. And at that time, I thought I wanted to go to graduate school. And English was, again, you know, this would be beneficial, whatever I decide to do. So.
All right. So I got to ask you then, because we have English, PR, we have that. And then we have like the dental.
Yes, came out of nowhere.
I was reading through and I was like, I got to ask her because there's such a gap. And I thought,
I thought you were going to ask me.
I was like, there's a story there.
Yes.
So I'm really curious, like, why did you choose to go into that field?
So it was very random. So after Florida, we came back and we were like, okay, well, what are we going to do for work, you know? My husband was in security, and my sister-in-law was like, you would love the dental field. It has a great work-life balance. You know, you can choose your hours. It's good pay. And that's, honestly, I was like, okay, it's just something for me to do right now while I you really understand where I'm going to go from there. And the rest is history. I liked working in the dental field. And then I saw the hygienist making more money. And I was like, oh, I can do that.
Right.
And I'm good at school.
Right.
So back to school I go. You know, and I did that. And then, oddly enough, I was like, the dentist is where he's making the money.
Yeah.
Let me go back to school and do that. So I actually...
Did you?
I went and took my prerequisites. I took the DATS, the dental admission test, and I got my, I asked instructors for recommendation letters, and I was about to hit that send button to apply to schools, and that was very different because from when I was in college, 2001, to now, that there's no paper applying now. It's all online. I was like, oh, I'm old. I'm old.
We're not going to have that conversation today. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
But then I sat down with my husband before I said, if I do this, we're doing it, you know. And we sat down and had a real conversation. What do we want the next 5 years to look like? And I was 35 at the time, and we were like, are we not going to have kids? Are we? Because obviously the time, there's a time schedule for that. And we said, yeah, let's start a family. That's what's going to be important. I think that's the next step. And yeah, we have 2 beautiful daughters. Yeah.
All right.
So school will always be there, you know, so
that was sort of like the thought process for not pushing the button.
Oh, yes. The family.
The family.
And I know a lot of women do that. I know a lot of women can go to graduate school, and it's hard though. Hard. So yeah, I had to choose my heart, and I was like, I'm going to choose to stay.
But that's so powerful what you're saying right there. Choosing your heart. Because it's such a fallacy when people say, oh, you can have it all. And I don't even think people continue to say that in great abundance anymore, because the truth is out. You can't have it all. Some days you're going to have more than others.
Absolutely.
And some days you're going to feel like, yes, I'm totally rocking it. Yeah. And then other days you're going to feel like, I
don't have anything to give.
I have nothing to give. I have nothing for you. Nothing.
Yes.
I'm depleted. And it's tough when you have the little ones and you're balancing all of that. I get it. And you chose your heart. But you also, it's a path that, even though you made that decision at that time, it's one that obviously has opened up so many doors for you.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful. Like, it was such an odd thing to say, okay, I'm not going to do it. It was like a weight off my shoulders, and we're going to start a family. And I was like, I'm going in the right direction. You know, it was just like an aha moment. Like, I'm going in the right direction. I know this is the path for me.
Yeah, I think those I had a previous guest one time, and she talked about just those moments where it's just like it feels right, and you know it's right, and it connects. For my listeners just tuning in, my guest today is Tondalea Brady. She's a Pittsfield resident, and she's the author of the new book, Max and Gus Send Mom to Time Out. There's more there.
There is more.
All right. So you have this moment where you start your family. And so at that point, you sort of said, you know what, I'm going to put all my focus with my girls.
Yeah, my girls, and work still.
Okay, so you did a balance.
Yes, and I loved my hygiene job, you know. I worked 3 days a week.
Okay.
And, you know, so again, great work-life balance. And then when I had my daughter, March of 2020.
Oh.
Yes. So then COVID, obviously.
Right at the beginning.
Right. She was born, and then the next day, like, everything shut down.
Were you able to, even at that time, I mean, because I know the timeline, and were you able, like, at the hospitals, were you able to have visitors? Like, had they shut down yet?
No. So my entire family got to meet my daughter that first day.
Yeah.
And then the second day, no one, we had no more visitors. But good thing everyone came on that first day, you know. They were even talking about my husband having to leave. You know, they didn't understand the protocol yet, you know. So that was scary. So I was like, I'm going to be here by myself with a newborn. You know, in your head, you have all these ideas of what it's going to be like to have a baby, and, you know, everyone's going to shower it with love. And
I have to ask you, because you lived through that as a new mom. You know, we all have our different experiences through the pandemic, but you have such a different vantage point. How did you feel going through that time, you know, having to bring your baby home?
It was so scary.
In the wake of all of that.
It was the scariest thing I've ever... Again, I had this idea of, we're going to dress the baby cute, and I'm going to go on maternity leave. I'm going to go to my work and show the baby off. My mom's going to hold the baby. We were alone. It was so scary. And I just remember, not only alone, we were in the house for a good year. And my husband, we designated him to be the one to go to the grocery store and doing, you know, so not leaving the house.
I know.
Going to get the mail. I always joked, I'm like, that's my outing.
That's the things we used to do.
Yeah.
The things.
So it was just I remember being very scared and very sad that this was my experience, you know, of being a first-time mom.
Yeah.
And writing actually helped with that, too. So this is where I think my writing took a big turn of, like, taking it more seriously. Writing was my outlet. Every Tuesday, I joined an online community called Shut Up and Write. And every Tuesday we wrote
How did
stories.
you find a community called Shut Up and Write?
I know. I don't know.
What, I mean,
the internet is an amazing thing sometimes.
It's such an interesting name. It's like Shut Up and Write. Okay,
I don't even know. A Google search, and then I was like, what is this? And then, you know, I don't know.
It's called the black hole of when you keep looking, and you're like, oh, okay, that looks like a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, but I digress. Continue. Yeah.
And every Tuesday we sat down and we wrote, and it was so awesome because like looking at the screen at people's faces, you know. And at first I wrote about being a new mom, and I actually published a couple articles about being a new mom, and then I was like, okay, what else can I do? I'm like, I'm going to try to write a children's book.
Okay.
So that's how that all be.
Now, wait a second. Wait 1 second. There's a leap. There's a leap between you writing the articles, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to write a book. Now, I got to tell you, when you have a newborn, a new baby, like, how did you balance your sanity? You're in the house. The mailbox is your field trip. Going to the mailbox. So I get the writing outlet, but how are you able to, like, your mental headspace? How are you able to, like, compartmentalize all of that so you could write and be creative? Where did that come from?
I have no idea. That's a great question. I have no idea. You know, the baby when she took a nap, I would write, and I remember like 10, 15-minute increments. I was like, okay, let me hurry up and jot this thought down. And at night when she went to bed, it's like, okay, this is my time to write. I don't know how I pulled that out, how I managed to do that.
Did you feel, it almost feels like it was coming out to you like in bursts.
In bursts, absolutely. Like it just had to get out.
It had to get it out. I've had those moments too where sometimes, like, I keep like a notepad beside my on my dresser in my room, because again, that same feeling of you've got to get it out. So that's like that's your process. And I think going back into your articles and being a new mom, were you writing articles during that time, and from your perspective as a new mom going through the pandemic, or was it a new mom experience in general?
Both. So I did have the pandemic one about just telling my story too about how scary it was, and from my perspective. But the ones that I really loved were about just being a new mom, which all new moms, experience.
Oh yeah.
And I remember one article. It was just like saying sorry because I told my sister sorry in the article because I was like, oh, she was a mother before me. Well, if I have a kid, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to do that, and I'm not. Oh my goodness, So I was like, you know what? If you're not a mom, you can't give advice.
You can, because you realize that there's like, excuse me, it's like, I don't know if it's the smog. It is in my throat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and allergies probably. Mm-hmm.
It's like a double dose, and now I can't speak. It's taking my voice. Yeah, you think you know it all until you have your own, and then you go down a path where you're like,
I'm just trying to survive.
I'm just trying to survive. I knew nothing.
Yes, I knew nothing.
And I have nothing to tell you either.
Yes.
Because I know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm learning, and it's literally like you learn as you go. Did you like the What to Expect When You're Expecting book?
Oh, I love those books.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. It was literally like, and as you went through each milestone, you're like, that's me.
I'm very much. Again, schooling is like my backbone, I think. So I love research, and I love, so yeah, I loved anything that had to do with how to be a new mom.
Yeah.
Even there were apps. I had 100 apps on my phone about, I had it all.
Yep. There's an app for everything.
There is.
And to help you and to ease you into it. But like you said, once you got into it, your experience flooded out. And you obviously were able to, I'm interested because you said that you were like painfully shy when you're a little girl. And then you joined this community, and were they also reading your writing? Like, were they reading as you're there? Like this community of writers?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have joined if it was that.
Oh, okay.
I would have been too shy. But it was, you click on your camera, and you had a session to talk. You didn't have to talk, right? So I was a listener of people, and then sometimes I chimed in when I felt a little comfortable. And then to write, you'd take off your camera, and then you write, and you could come back and speak about your writing if you wanted to. Yeah, so it was all at your own pace, So and then you got to know the people more. So they were like friends. I felt more comfortable sharing. And
Oh, okay, very nice. Oh, I love it. I'm remembering when they were babies, and I just wanted to sleep.
Yes, yeah.
So I am like impressed by your burst of creative output that you're like, I just need to get this out of my system because I just remember that time. But you obviously are building up your portfolio of writing, and then it comes to you, I should write a book. Did you know automatically you wanted to write a children's book? How did you settle on the genre?
Well, I've wrote children's books before.
Wait a second.
Now they'll never see the day of light. I'll tell you that because I read them now, and they are not good. It's so funny too because my husband, he read my first book ever.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Look, this is gonna make us millions." He's like, "Babe."
We'll just keep that in the house.
He's a hater. This is a good book. This is a good story. I know a good story. Oh no, it's so funny too. Just the more you write, the better you get at it, and so that's how I just went back to, what I do. I have more stories than those couple of stories that I had, and.
So wait, when did you? And we're going to get into Max and Gus, but when did you write your initial book? Because obviously, now that you're telling me this, there was a seed planted.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't even see that. But yes, absolutely. When did I write? Maybe when I was 20, 21, I wrote that first book.
You wrote a children's book
book, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That I carried with me, too, because I was like, this is going to be the next big thing.
If you don't mind me asking, do you remember the title?
I think it was like Princess Aurora and the Kingdom of Sweets or something like that. Oh my goodness, you brought it back. It was something like that.
All right.
Don't ask me to tell you what it's about, though.
No, it's okay. But you know what? Oh my goodness, I got to tell you though, it's the start. It's where we start, right?
Yes,
and
that's important to start.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Have to start.
And when you start, is it going to look all shiny and brand new? No. It's gonna have its jagged edges. But I think, that was the breeding ground.
I read somewhere, write your first story and throw it away. Like, you got to start though,
You got to start. You got to start. So tell me about this process for Max and Gus, and how did it come to be? So you say, I'm going to write another children's book, and you obviously settled on this theme. Was it something that you had been walking around with, kind of carrying inside of you for this particular theme, or how did it come about?
So I think it was just from friends. We always joke about, like, kids don't know how good they have it, right? They get to take naps. They hate taking naps. They don't want to take a nap, They get to sit in timeout and reflect. I want to sit in timeout and reflect, again, talking about seeds being planted. And then I'm going to write, and like, what's something catchy that will stick? And I didn't really want to teach a lesson. I just wanted to entertain,
Okay.
And obviously kids go to timeout. And this was like, again, it developed on its own. It was a burst. And I just started writing. Yeah.
So are we now, without you giving away the whole book, are we now to think that timeout is a vacation?
Yes. For mothers.
I think Tondalea is trying to change the game.
Yes.
It's a vacation. Okay.
An hour vacation. You get to go to 1 hour timeout.
And don't contact me.
Yes.
Take away all my devices.
Yes.
And I will see you in an hour. Now that you say that.
Doesn't that sound nice?
Sounds good. Can we all go to timeout?
That's what I'm saying. At least once a day.
All right. So you have this idea. You put it together. When you were writing, much like your articles, did you have it like it had to come out of you? Were you writing feverishly?
Oh, yes. And that's a perfect word. I say feverishly all the time. I write feverishly. It just comes out and it's there. And that is the shortest amount of time. Like, writing the story is it doesn't take me long at all.
Yeah.
It's the editing. That's the take, So, and because I'm new at this, I had to understand what goes into writing a children's book. How long does it have to be?
Right.
I remember my first edit, I took a lot of the words out and I let my husband read it. And he was like, you took all the fun stuff out. He's like, you over-edited this. So I had to go back to the drawing board and put just the right amount of, story. And
so your husband served as your editor?
Oh, yes. Big time. Yeah.
Okay.
My husband's my number one champion. So he's...
Well, I was going to ask you, too, about your, everyone has like a little focus group or their team that helps them get it just right. Did you, when you put it together, the manuscript was together and I was like, okay, we're good to go with this. Did you have a little focus group that you said,
sure did.
Here, please read?
I sure did. My husband's my number one. He goes, yes, this is good. Okay, now my sister must have read this manuscript a billion times, so shout out to my sister. Right. And then my friend Teresa, she has 3 little kids.
Okay.
And she'd always videotape her reading. And then she'd be like, oh, they really like this part. They thought that was funny, so I keep that in, So that was a great focus group to have her reading to her children at night. So.
And that's like the most authentic reaction.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's what people pay for.
Yep.
I mean, they pay for these focus groups to say the exact same thing.
Yeah. And if they weren't paying attention, I'm like, okay, that's too long here, or that's,
Genius.
So, yeah. So it was very, her family I'm forever grateful for her little family.
Love it. All right. So, once you got all the input in, you're like, okay, it's ready. Now, I saw it's packaged very nicely.
Thank you.
Obviously you must have had an illustrator.
Yes.
Is that you?
No.
Okay.
I wish I could draw that good. I wish. Mariah Stoyanova, she's from the UK.
Okay.
And I just researched, I liked her style. And she has a whole bunch of books out, and so it was very easy for me to be like, okay, she knows what I'm looking for, or what I was looking for. So I emailed her and she said,
Wait a second, is that how it goes, the process to find the illustrator? You find one you like and you reach out?
And you reach out, and they either want to do it or they no, I'm too busy.
Wow.
Working on other projects.
And did you self-publish?
I did self-publish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about, for those who are, budding authors and are like so intrigued by your story, what was that journey like for you? Because there's a creative aspect and then there's a business aspect.
And the creative aspect happened very, very quickly. And the publishing side of things, it took for a long, long time because I wrote the story, I think 2021.
Yeah.
So it's just been an ongoing, I'm still learning on how to publish. And Ty Allen Jackson actually helped me a lot on, giving me advice. He was like, oh, this is what I do. I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do. And so he's just been a wealth of knowledge, and I'm grateful for him as well.
Shout out to Ty.
Yes.
Ty is amazing.
He's amazing.
And just another example of someone who, great idea. And I mean, look, I mean, just had an entrepreneur fair, and
I know, I
kids
just saw
and
that.
just,
that was great.
Now we'll have legions of children sending their parents to Timeout.
Yeah.
That's what she wants.
Exactly. We can only hope.
You have made it. Yes. You have won.
If I get one time out in my life.
But it's all starts with an idea and a dream. And so you're still going through that process of learning the business side of things, because I got to tell you, for creatives, they will always say, yeah, I'm a great artist. Like, I know my stuff. It's the business side of things
absolutely.
where you have to be a little bit shrewd. Because it's like, you're dealing with different outlets. I mean, the book is available, Amazon?
On Amazon.
Where
yes.
else?
Yeah, barnesandnoble.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I also go in Barnes & Noble, can I find it?
Yeah. Also, they'll order it for you. So it's not on stock yet. Yet is the big word.
Okay. But if people request it, then they see the interest.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, so that's how that goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So, I think then that now that you have this book, and I am thinking you read it to your girls?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And have they said, Mommy, I like that part. Mommy, I don't like that part. But
so my 3-year-old, I have a 11-month-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, she's not saying Mommy, I like that part.
She's pointing now.
Yeah.
Though, so, my 3-year-old loves it, and she's so cute. Like, she reads it. Can I read it to you? And she'll flip through the pages and she'll read what's on the pages.
How does that make you feel?
Like, it's the most amazing feeling. Like, I made it again. Like, I made it. This is, if I do nothing else, my little girl, she's proud. She's like, this is Mommy's book. It's cute. It's really cute. And I've been doing readings at Head Start.
Yeah.
And she comes with me too. So again, that's such a great feeling.
Wow. Would you ever consider, now that you've gone through that process and you're going through it, have you been approached by other young writers or other folks who now are coming to you?
Yeah. So a couple of my friends were like, so I kept this very tight to my chest. I didn't know, so many things happened. I didn't know if I was going to, with the business side of things, if it was even going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
So I kept it tight. So when I openly put it on my Facebook page and stuff, I had friends saying, that's so cool. I also want to write a book. Could I sit down with you? I'm like, yes. This is, absolutely. I would love to. I don't know a lot, but I can help you I can show you what I did.
But that's how it starts, though, because it's the little things, the things that if you're not in it, how would you know?
Oh, right.
How really would you know? I mean, I don't know.
And I learned so much this first book, and my next book, I'm like, okay, and now I'm going to do this with the next book.
Look at the segue, because she beat me to it.
Oh, did I?
Because I was going to ask you, now that we have Max and Gus, what's next? And are we doing a series here, or are we?
I know. So, and my intention was not to do a series.
Okay.
But I'm getting such good feedback. So I'm like, I have to.
You got to.
I have to. And I don't what is their next adventure going to be, Max and Gus, So I think I will. But I already have a second book I'm working on now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Another
children's book.
Whoa. Wow.
And I'm in the editing process of that right now. So, but now I'm like scrap this, go back to Max and Gus.
Oh my gosh, you got to give the people what they want.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
But they want more Max and Gus.
Yes,
you got to give them more Max and Gus. You know, they're like, we don't have time for that right now. Just, like, we're asking for this. But how amazing is that for you? Talk about that hustle. I love it. You're a mom, you have your family, and you have hobbies. I know you do, because you like to renovate, and you're doing a lot of stuff. I want to talk about your house too.
Okay.
It's like really interesting. I'm like really old and historic. I love it. But you find time to do all of this. Where does your energy come from?
I don't think I have any. It's all gone.
Okay.
I just keep on moving, keep on keeping on.
Do you have like an internal supply of coffee hidden underneath your jacket right now?
Yes. Exactly. I do. No.
Let me show you my bag.
How'd you know?
Because there are more, like, you're so inspiring to me.
Well,
like,
thank
wow.
you. Thank you.
I love the creative energy. I know sometimes when I write, and I sometimes I need like to be in a good headspace, because it's just like I need to think and I need to get the words out. And so it's easy to do that now that my kids are older, because my kids are 19, 16, and 12. So I can close the door.
Yeah.
Yell on your own.
Yeah.
Be good.
They can be by themselves in a room.
Exactly. Be well.
Yes.
Right? Just kind of thing.
Yes.
You can't do that with the little ones.
No, you can't. They're on you. Yeah.
Kick the door open. We're hungry, And so it's
That's so true. Like, do you know my 3-year-old?
It's like there is no peace.
No, none.
And so it's like the balancing of the creativity between the needs as as mom, and making sure that you're present and doing all that, and then thinking, okay, what's the next storyline?
Right.
So it's literally like you're going in between both worlds simultaneously.
I always think too, I love that I need space for, like, I'm a mom, obviously, and I need something else, though.
Yes. Yes.
So again, this writing thing has been really beneficial for me mentally, So
good for you. That's how I felt too when after, like, I knew I didn't want to like I take my hat off to anyone like stays on, because it is work.
It's hard.
It's inside work.
I didn't know.
I call it's inside work. It's inside work, because there are no breaks. You have to create your own breaks. I stayed home for like a year with like one, and then maybe 6 months with the other, and it was the hardest job ever. And you have to create your sort of this line of demarcation within your day. Like, okay, I'm going to do this, or because it's easy for it to just
overlap.
Absolutely. And then you're like, it's like 7, 8 o'clock, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll take care of that right now. Yeah.
And some days I get like that too, right?
Yeah.
Some days are like, okay, well, I didn't write at all. I didn't do anything for myself. And some days I have a good balance.
Right. And that's why you learn to applaud every moment. I always tell other moms too, especially the ones that are just coming up, and like, I'm like, listen, be easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself, and don't judge yourself according to other people.
No, you can't.
Because you don't even know what's going on with them. I remember there was, when my boys were little, when they were little, we used to live in upstate New York, and there was another mom, and like her house was like a model house. Like, I was like, do you live here? I was like, where are the appliances? Like, it was like all put under the cabinet. I was
like, you take them out every time?
It was like perfect.
Yeah.
And I remember I would leave after I left her house. I was empowered, and I'd go home, and I would like straighten up. And then I was like, I can't keep this up. I was like, I'm tired. I was like, and at some point I settled into me, and I was like, this is me. And I'm going to do what I can do. I'm not her.
Yeah, that's important too. Yep.
You figure out your lane, and you stay in your lane.
But before I had kids, I said that too. I said, my house is going to be so clean. I'm going to cook all 3 meals. They're going to be, oh my goodness. So I was like, yeah. I didn't know.
You did. It's like you figure it out.
You do.
Figure out what works for you. So since the book's release, which it came out June 1st.
Yes.
What has the feedback been like? I caught like the video on your page, and I saw like over 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Great.
It's been great. there's no words. I'm just so excited to be a part of this community because I think that's where the success is coming from. Friends of friends sharing my stuff on it's free marketing, you know. I'm very grateful. That's all I can say. It's been great feedback. You know, I love all the people taking photos of their little kids at night reading and and sharing it with me. And I'm just like, it's the best feeling in the world.
Well, there's more to come.
Yes.
There's more to come. For my listeners just tuning in, my guest today is Tondalea Brady. She's a Pittsfield resident and author of the new book, Max and Gus Send Mom to Timeout. Timeout. So I know that you've had a little hobby, things that you enjoy doing, and you've had a proclivity toward I Love Lucy.
Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you brought that up. I love that. So I randomly found it one night in high school on a rerun on the television, and I was hooked. I watched it every single night, over and over. My husband, like a couple of years ago, got me the whole complete DVD set. And I watch it every single night.
She was like ahead of her time.
Oh my goodness, she's amazing.
I mean, between her and Ethel,
And you know, I wanted to name my first daughter Lucy.
Oh, really?
I sure did. We said it all settled on Georgia, but I was obsessed with I Love Lucy.
Yeah, it was. She was ahead of her time, and it takes a lot to be funny.
Yeah,
you know, she really didn't. You know, she was just like she did anything. A lot of that. What do they call it? The comedy where it's there's a term for it where it's the actual physical.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know which word you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's literally like she's acting it out, like when she was stepping on the grapes.
Yes.
Or
my favorite one is when they have fur coat, a mink coat, and then they cut it up, but they really cut up the real one. And, it's I love Lucy.
It's still, and that's how you know the power of good writing and good acting.
Oh, absolutely.
It endures. I mean, because
all times.
How many years? I mean,
and it's still good.
It's still good. That's how you know a classic. So what else do you like to do to unwind other than watching I Love Lucy?
Yeah, so I have a lot of hobbies. Since the kids, my hobbies are actually getting closer to the home, so gardening is a big one.
Are you a gardener?
I love gardening. I'm still learning.
And do your things live?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just
no, they do. No, have I killed a lot of things? Yes. Also, yes.
Okay.
I love the tomato plants, onions. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on in the garden right now. So,
no, do you have the critters that try to come and eat it?
Yeah. So they're still alive, and I don't see anything. So we live right. Our house is abuts the state forest, so we have deer and we have bears, but for whatever reason, but I'm thinking because our neighbor has a big garden too. I'm like, maybe they're over there. Yeah. I tried. I don't know. I mean, it's such an interesting thing with gardening and myself. When I was little, my grandmother garden, I played in the dirt. Then there was a period where it stopped. And then the dirt was not my friend anymore. And then I was like, there are things that live in the dirt. Yes.
And I want to see them.
That creeps me out.
And I want them to see me. I want our lives to be separate.
Yes.
Okay? And so then I was like, well, if I do a raised bed garden, I can put in my own dirt. And I don't have to see
That's how I'm gardening now. A whole bunch of raised beds.
Yes. I was like, I want to be in the actual earth. Kind of want to have a step into it.
Yes.
Where
you can control
where
things.
I can control the earth. I can't control
as much as you can.
As much as I can. I know there are going to be little things that get in there, but that was the idea. And so I even went so far as to buy get things, and I think it was like the frame of the garden, but it didn't have a bottom. I don't know. It didn't work out. And then during COVID, I tried to we had use egg crates and to put dirt in there.
Yes, yeah.
And I was trying to garden, and then things were growing, and then I let them grow, and then I let them die because I didn't take them out.
Oh, you didn't replant
no,
them? Yeah.
because that would have been the next step.
Yes.
Tondalea. I did not
You didn't.
replant it. So then I watched it grow and I watched it die. And I did the same thing with potted plants. Like, put it in there. I was like, oh, it's flourishing. And I put the seeds in. And then I was like, but wait, there are other things growing in there too. Because I think the wind was blowing in. Yeah, the wind was blowing in other seeds. So I was like, that doesn't look like basil. I was like,
It looks like dandelion.
yeah, I was like so confused. I take my hat off to anyone who has a green thumb and keeps doing it. I have like, it's just sort of like an inner desire to do it.
It's so peaceful out there too,
Yeah.
you know. And then you get the fruits of your labor.
And so how long does it take for everything to grow?
So I started my seeds indoors.
Oh.
March. I was very early because I was so excited. Everyone's like, wait, it was like March 10th. And I was like, why are you starting your seeds now? The people who really know what they're doing, they're like, why are you starting your seeds now?
What do you put it in?
Oh, dirt. So I have a grow light. I have a grow light, and I did like my tomato seeds and my tray, and for weeks, and then potted them up when they grew. I put them out. Took them out, put them in.
You're
bigger
intense.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
You said grow light. I don't even know what that is. Grow light in a tray. I'm like, what? What is happening
You just
right
did
now?
seeds next to the windowsill. And Now, I don't have any fruit yet, but my tomatoes have flowers, which means they're going to,
Oh, that's like the next step.
Yeah, that's the next step.
Oh, gosh. So then when everything blooms, then you just go to your garden and you pick it.
And I pick, And this year we put seeding in the middle of the garden so we can just sit there amongst the, So, yeah.
And are you, when you think about your garden too, do you think about like how everything plays nice with each other?
Yeah. So before I was very rigid. Like I was like, okay, this is where it's gonna, my tomatoes are going to be here, my, onions. But this year I've been doing a lot of research of companion planting. So, so it's very cottagey feel. Ooh. And, everything's thrown in with everything. Ooh. And I think it's the prettiest my garden has ever been this year. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So inspirational.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And then you're able to eat the fruits of your labor. Like,
my husband says it's most expensive. The most expensive vegetables because it takes all this time and effort. He's like the most expensive like $2 vegetable that you could just go to the store.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for when you do it yourself.
It's so true.
I mean,
it's so true.
Kennedy has a friend, and I know it's not fruits and vegetables, but they're eggs.
Yeah.
And so they have chickens. And she was like, "Oh, do you eat?" I was like, "Yeah, I do. I love eggs." Yeah. So gave a carton of eggs, and I'm telling you, those eggs,
they're different, right?
They first of all, they look different. The yolk looks different. They're so fresh. And it makes me then think other things. Then why doesn't the other ones look like this?
Oh, absolutely. Like you just need to get chickens.
That wouldn't fly. They're too loud.
Yeah.
I can't, and I don't have the bandwidth. I barely have the bandwidth for the fish. We have fish.
And that's too much.
And there was a time when a few of them were turning around belly up. And it was like, why are they dying? So we're going to stay with the fish right now, make sure the fish live.
I understand that.
We're not getting any animals, no chickens, no nothing like that. But, kids can get it when they are off on their own. But I love the idea of living off the land and eating your own, like your crop, and so fresh. And you know exactly what goes into it.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't put any pesticides, no nothing. All fresh.
All fresh, yeah. And my husband loves pickling jalapenos, so like that's a big thing too. So
pickling jalapeno.
Yeah, I said pickling. Is it pickling?
Is it?
But he makes
that must be hot.
Yeah, they are hot. So yeah. He puts them in a jar of vinegar. It has to be pickling, right? Am I saying that?
No, you're saying it right. But no, I said it pickling jalapeno because why?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
No, like because that's like hot.
Yes, it is.
And I'm like
they're hot.
I'm thinking to myself like, do you eat it too?
No, well I can. So if he makes nachos, I can have like one or two.
Oh my gosh.
Like once, when he cuts them up, like one or two on mine. But he, no. Yeah, no.
That's where the sweats start to break out, and it's like
that's why I said I'm good with one.
You're like, I'll take that.
Yeah, for the whole nacho tray.
Oh my goodness. So all right. So you have that. You have the gardening.
Yeah.
And then anything else you like renovations? You like to revamp old things?
Yeah. So we're renovating our home.
Okay.
And it's, I would want to say 160. It's over 150 years for sure. And my husband, he's doing the majority of it. So
on his own?
On his own, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we're, gutting and
see, I always love to find these people. Gardener, gut in the home. You guys, like, what? Who are you?
I know. Like when we go big, we go big. We're like, let's do it all.
I am impressed. I mean, my husband tried to like put spackle on the wall. I was like, stop. We're going to get professionals. So I was like, you're not doing anything else on that wall.
No, I was telling him to stop. I'm like, can we hire somebody? I was like, you're so lucky. I'm like, I just want to hire one person.
I was like, but that's impressive.
Complete opposite. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
But it's great to see the transformation, even with the garden.
Yes.
The home, the stories.
Yes.
You see, it's nothing. It's a blank slate. And you get to use your hands, and then you see after, like, the beauty of whatever you did,
Yes.
So.
Well, one, the fact that you live in this, I mean, does your house have stories and stuff like that? Do you know?
No, I don't really.
And you're probably like, I don't know.
I don't want to know.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's
I'm sure it has. No, I know it comes from a long history of one family owned it for a long, long time. So I know, and the great stories, like a lot of laughter, a lot of love. Good. So a lot of good stuff from there. Yeah, so that's all I know.
A lot of love, a lot of good stuff. No, and anything like is historic wise, like have you found anything while you're gutting, like treasures or stuff in the wall? Or
no, the most exciting thing, there was a big beehive in the wall that wasn't there were no bees in there, but so that was only like really that's not true. A Yankee ticket. I don't remember how old the Yankee ticket was.
In the wall.
It was in the wall. It was very, very old though. So that was cool. That was really cool.
Someone put it in there, hoping that someone would find it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. But nothing. So far. No, I don't know. We'll see.
No,
we're still going.
I love the idea of like old homes and renovating. Again, another thing I like in theory. And
yes, but not living it.
Not living it because it's just yeah. We all have to know our lane. Mm-hmm. I've renovated little things, like little pieces of furniture, like during COVID that took that up. Mm-hmm. Took that up and found myself with a sander.
That's awesome.
And outside thinking I'm like on like HGTV or something. Like all of this, like, oh yeah, I feel good.
I can do this.
I can do this. And it was great, but then it was like, okay, I'm doing all these pieces. Where are they going? Mm-hmm. I don't have space for this. I was like, I said to stop. But all right. So because what a great conversation. Before our time runs out, I have some things I want to ask you. I want to ask you who or what motivates you to keep going throughout all of this that you're doing.
Now I have to say my children, absolutely. Because now, since I've had them, I want to say, I want them to be proud of me, obviously. But I want them to have the best life. I want them to have a great childhood like I had. So what can I provide for them? What can I do for them? So, if they ever are on the radio station and, saying, tell me about your childhood, I want them to be like, I had the greatest childhood,
I love that.
So, my kids are motivating me.
I love that. Let me ask you a quick question just to piggyback off that. Mm-hmm. Would you let them use social media?
I want to say no right off the bat. No. Yeah. But look at the social media, what it did.
I know.
They won't use it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Again, just listening to reading stuff and listening to certain people speak, how damaging it can be for young minds. Yeah. So maybe not for, and again, I'm going to say yes or no now because I'm not in that. My kids my eldest is 3. Yeah. But so far I'd say no, not until they're 16, 17, 18.
Who knows what they'll have?
And who even knows?
It's, who knows? Mm-hmm. Who really knows?
It's a tough decision too.
It is.
Because, all my friends have it, but, I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm torn because the work that I do, it's important, but I find myself limited in my personal time because it's like trying to create that line and just thinking about going back to even when we were talking in the beginning about your childhood. You know, oftentimes you have those clear, distinct memories. Not sitting in a house.
We were never in the house.
Never in the house. You were outside
Playing.
And that's the thing. It's like if you're doing this, if your head is down, if you're looking at a device or whatever, you're not outside playing, being a kid.
Yeah. And it's doing damage, they say, right? Like,
I mean, the screen time. And I can tell you, it's like, I've seen it even with the little one. Well, she's not so little anymore, but I mean, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And let her be on timeout.
Yeah.
And that phone be taken away.
Yeah.
You would have thought
end of the world.
I have restricted her, like restricted food and water for like a day. It's like, it's literally, she's tearing up the house, trying to find the phone. And it's like, should this elicit that kind of reaction?
No.
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 No. I'm like,
I have other friends too, teenagers, and take something away like that, and it's like the end of the world.
End of the world.
Yep.
And it's like, what are we doing here? So that's the part that it's just, on one hand, I definitely wish I, never had to give it to her, but we live in such a world that it was really from a safety standpoint.
Yeah.
Really
absolutely.
not from a convenience standpoint or get into the social media world, but safety and...
Yeah. Like here's a phone, you can call me. Yeah.
Yeah. But that family plan, then you get access to everything and then it's a wrap.
Yeah.
So if you had to choose one word to describe you, what would it be?
I would say dreamer. I'm a dreamer.
Okay.
I would say, if my first thought that came to mind, I was going to say kind. Like if someone else would just, what would other people say about me?
Yeah.
But if my heart, my soul, I would say dreamer.
I love it. And that's the first one. No one has ever said that before.
Oh, really?
So now you set the precedent.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tondalea.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm resisting the urge to say your name with flair. But I just want to say thank you so much. I wish you all the best with your book. I wish you all the success in the world. And I'll be on the lookout. And I have a nephew. My nephew is going to turn 3. So
I brought a book for you.
And I'm going to pay
No,
for
you're
it.
not.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, because I'm going to support you. So, again, people can find your book on Amazon. They can find your book on BarnesandNoble.com. And the rest is history. Continue to, she's one of our own. Continue to support one of Pittsfield's new authors who is going to continue with a great series.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you're going to love it. All right, everyone, you've been listening to Backstory. Let's hear it on WTBR-FM Pittsville with Roberta McCulloch-Dews. Thanks for listening, everyone, and have a great day.